During the regular season, teams have already revealed their tactics, which ultimately became their overall identity. In fact, we could see these teams deploy their signature antics in the playoffs, though it can be argued that something new might appear in Season 9's finale. Barangay Omega's game plan has always revolved around creating spaces for Kelra and Ryzen. At the early stages of the game, both Etomax and Chocnu would move around the battlefield, making sure that their key late game threats secure early momentum kills. But in case their early game gets hampered, they could still find alternatives, where their cores start farming up while Chocnu and Etomax would serve as a clutch factor at the latter stages of the match, similar to their PBA counterparts in Ginebra's Justin Brownlee and LA Tenorio. The Filipino Hedgehogs have many methods to surprise their foes, as the team would constantly shuffle their roster as well as their tactics. We've seen Onik with their signature split pushing game, which could transition to a jungle invade strategy depending on the situation. Not to mention, they could also shift their personnel, which would alter their methodologies. For instance, choosing Ryota over Delarsky would mean that Onik would focus more on team fights over objectives, while choosing Bimo or Mycophobia could be their way of maximizing the tank-based meta. Similar to Onik, Nexplay also has a tendency to toggle the pieces. In terms of the jungle, fielding H2O would mean that the Roaring Tigers would go for a high-risk, high-reward play, while using MP the King would force the Tigers to play patiently in acquiring kills or objectives. They also have a tendency to rely on a playmaking XP laner, as both Sagitnu and Ureshi would try their best to surprise their foes with their random entrances. The latter could be an overbearing force with his signature XP lane Valentina pick. The Orcas go loud and proud with their dual fighter setup, which has been an effective method in zoning out key threats. With Benny Cutie's obsession with Phoveus and Yuzhong, expect him to charge towards the backlines while his teammates would focus on the frontal assaults. But Echo can also rely on their aggressive high-risk assaults that could potentially overwhelm their foes, though they have to be very careful in conducting their antics, as teams could capitalize on a few mishaps. For TNC, the jungle is considered to be their paradise, which explains their obsession with SDZYZ's Demon Slayer emblem. With a towering support duo featuring Bentings and Escalera, SDZYZ manages to secure the jungle, or even go as far as snatching the opposition's jungle, allowing him to snowball well throughout the match. But the role of Bentings and Escalera goes beyond easing the path for SDZYZ, as they could also explode with the likes of Cram and Yasuo during teamfights. The Raiders' signature Deathball antics have evolved from the Demon Heath tandem to the Demon Light Revelation. Light's arrival to the team would generate an additional layer of explosiveness, and he even becomes a clutch beacon that could shut down the opposition's main key threat at the latter stages of the game. Besides his sudden outburst, RSG's disciplined approach in dissecting their foes and their positioning is something that teams need to be wary of in the playoffs. So there you have it, some of the notable tactics deployed by teams during the regular season. Who do you think will be crowned as champion? And which team might introduce something new in the playoffs? Let us know in the comment section below. See you next time!